Mr. Longfellow! Art class, Mr. Longfellow! Art class, art class! It's time for art class with Mr. Longfellow. Hey there, James John Lyons. Today we're going to be using some clay and we're going to be talking about making coil pots. Let's check it out. All right, so once your clay is warmed up and soft, you can squish it around and we're gonna make a coil pot out of our modeling clay. So I'm just gonna tear off a piece because it's easier to work with a small piece. Kind of squish it into a long piece. Roll it out kind of like a little snake, making a little snake here. I'm gonna make it very long and thin so that I have a lot to coil. All right, so I got a nice long string of clay. Now you can start with a flat piece if you want, or you can just start curling and make that your base. You can take the flat piece and start curling on top of it, or you can just curl everything up. Let's see what that looks like. Give that a try. It might use a little more clay if you're worried about that. I'm gonna curl up my bottom, squish it down a little bit. Do this all in one big piece. All right, that's pretty good. And now I'm going to start curling on top. And just keep coiling and coiling and coiling. And they start going on top of each other here. And it's starting to look a little bit like a pot. Obviously, this one piece of clay wasn't enough, so that's why we have more clay. So I'm going to take a little piece of this, and I'm going to turn this into a nice little string, and I'll add it on right on top. So you can always just keep adding more little string pieces on top. You just smooth them in. All right, let's make some more here. And you will have to decide how tall you want to make it, how wide you want to make it. It's up to you. How even you want your coil to be. Maybe you like it different sizes, different shapes. All right, let's give this a go. Put that on here. Wrap it around. Carefully. It might be a little bit easier if you're having trouble keeping all of your coil in one place. Breaking up into little pieces might be easier to handle. But as we keep going around, we start getting a nice little form here. You can squish it if you want to smooth it out a little bit or squish it together to get it the right shape. You could do that, or you can leave the coils nice and coily. I even have a little extra. I could keep going. I'm going to use a little piece of this, one last little bit thicker, just to give it some style points here. I'm going to take this guy, half and half, about the same. I'm going to do a little half heart kind of shape. And I'm going to put my half heart here on the side. Now it could be a little cup with a handle. My modeling clay is really soft, so if I tried to hold it like this, it would just tear right off. But it looks good. And let's do another one on the other side, so it's like a vase here. Another half heart shape. Stick it on. I'm sticking mine on the top there and then also on the bottom side here. And there we go. Made a little coil pot with 2 handles. It's still warm and squishy. If you let them sit out, they'll cool off. The modeling clay will never dry, but if they're cold, they're a little bit harder. So this one's harder than this one's squishier. You can play around with adding shapes inside of your coils. Do small coil pieces. Yeah. Give it a try. And now that I am done with my coil pot, because we're using modeling clay, it never dries, so I don't need to be too concerned about keeping it around because it'll eventually just smush. So here comes the fun part. I can take my beautiful pot and squish on to the next project.